when it comes to the health, do we need to be scared about that in AI as well?
If I was to say how to prepare people for like the age of AI, I think it would be scrutinize everything. We need actually AI to detect AI from text to images to videos. Is AI something to be feared, or you know, and a good way to think about the change that's coming with AI is that indeed it is inevitable, right? To relate that to us human beings is we see the world on a day-to-day basis and we taking a lot of information, and our brains are making sense of that information, and then we through seeing the world and consuming that information, we understand the concepts that are around us. So that's essentially the same way AI operates. We give it a lot of data, and then it makes sense of that data.
Unspoken answers to unspoken question. Thank you again. Thank you to our fans and clients as well for always sharing our platform. Today I have a guest in the building who incidentally just came right now, and I'm rushing him. So yeah, but he's an expert, so everything that we'll be talking about will be his expertise. So with due course, Francis.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yes. First of all, introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Francis.
Yeah, because that's how I always like to introduce people.
Sounds good.
From the horse's mouth.
Sounds good. My name is Francis. My background is applied physics, and I currently run an AI implementation agency. So what we do is we help companies integrate new or even existing AI technologies into their businesses to increase operational efficiencies. That's what we do.
Wow. Okay. So you have a different background, and you're now into AI.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, it's a long story. It's a long story. So
I know African parents always want something different. So
yeah, I graduated in physics in 2019, and I was an engineer for a few years. And after working as like a test and qualification engineer in the semiconductor industry, so it's an industry that creates microchips for all types of devices like electric vehicles, mobile phones, and AI, for example. At some point I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And, so I tried out a bunch of different types of gigs, from selling electric vehicles to running a software startup. And then a friend of mine showed me ChatGPT, like 2.5 or something, just after it launched.
Yeah.
In December 2021, I believe.
21.
Yeah, 2021. He showed me ChatGPT, and I was blown away. I knew it was the future. So it's like the next thing I start has to be involved with generative AI, which is a specific type of AI.
Okay. Wow. The normal average people.
Yeah.
How will you describe AI to an average dude?
Yeah.
On the street, like proper.
Yeah.
The average mommy, the average daddy, because those are my core
listeners.
Yeah, listeners. So so break it down.
So there are different types of AI, but in a nutshell, artificial intelligence is how we simulate intelligence processes with a machine. So with a computer, for example, how one could think about it is how we learn as human beings. We went to school, to
Yeah.
learn, initially to learn numbers,
Yeah.
to learn the A, B, C's and stuff like that. They learn the alphabets, right?
Yeah.
And when we went to school the first day, it didn't all stick, right? We had to do it over
Definitely.
and over and over and over again, and learn the alphabet and learn the numbers from different perspectives, through stories, through context and stuff like that. So that's like lots of data, right, that we need to consume over a period of time. AI is very similar in the sense that it gets that data and it processes it and connects how, one apple. The concept of one apple is essentially the same concept as one pear, right?
Okay.
So it connects that logic together, and through multiple,
Becomes a juice.
through thousands or even millions, or potentially billions of this example, these connections are made in AI model. So to sum it up, AI is the patterns in lots of data.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that the meaning of those patterns are processed within the machine to understand that.
Okay.
So to relate that to us human beings is we see the world on a day-to-day basis, and we taking a lot of information, and our brains are making sense of that information, and then we through seeing the world and consume that information, we understand the concepts that are around us. So that's essentially the same way AI operates. We give it a lot of data, and then it makes sense of that data.
Yeah. So if I understand that, okay, using a computer, okay, the computer functionality, is it different from AI?
There's mostly two different types of AI, well, kind of three. So there's machine learning and deep learning, right? So machine learning. Well, I think we should probably just focus on like deep learning, because I think it's more related to the general AI hype that's happening right now, which is generative AI. To answer your question, it isn't different to like traditional kind of software or traditional computers, but generative AI essentially is connecting. It's basically a model that has been giving a lot of data set from language, right?
Okay.
So the English language, right? There is a pattern to speaking.
Yeah, to talking. Yeah.
And the pattern is, I went to, finish that sentence for me. I went to
the shop.
To the shop. So there is only, a small set of words that would come after I went to the shop. There's always going to be a location.
Yeah, there's going to be the next.
There's going to be a location. It's either to the shop, to school. I went home. I went to hospital. Right. So there's a probability of that word being there. Right. So if we give AI a lot of these examples, a lot of these types of sentences, right, it knows that the likelihood of a word coming after another word.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the predictability of how shop, school, restaurant, this. So you just choose of the 5 things, but you know it's going to be one of the.
Yes.
Okay.
So for example, let's say I went to table. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't. Right? No, yeah.
So in terms of the way the relationship between words are going to be created within the model, I went to table is going to be so far away from I went to the shop, I went to the hospital, because the probability of I went to the shops, the hospital, and the store are so high compared to I went to table.
Right.
So if you were to get a sentence from AI, it would likely never say I went to table, because statistically that is improbable because we don't speak like that. That isn't the pattern
Okay.
that can be extracted from, from the English language.
Yeah.
So that's how LLMs work. So it's large language models. They've been giving basically the entire internet to learn how we speak as human beings. And in a way, we speak in a way where there is a statistical probability of a word coming after another word, right? So if you do that across all human knowledge on the internet, you get really, really accurate sequence of words coming after each other.
Yeah.
And that's why you can get very sensible language, a sensible dialogue with ChatGPT, for example.
Okay.
But it doesn't know what it's saying. It's just putting words after another that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah. All right. So, in a nutshell, if I'm learning a pack of cards, so already I know the sequence that could come. Okay. So then I now know that the probability of this one coming up is this one, and I'll play this. Whereas, I think kind of. I think with packs of cards is the slight difference is that there isn't like a natural order to a pack of cards. Yeah.
As opposed to language, there is quite there's structure to language, right? There's grammar.
Okay.
There's past tense. There's present tense.
Yeah.
And that determines where the words will be, right?
Okay.
And with a pack of cards, it can be random, and there's no logical order to it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a slightly different, I would say. If I was to give it as an analogy, how would I put it? I think maybe if I explain it from like the maths perspective. Let's say you have a two-dimensional space, right? So this is like a square.
Yeah.
A square is 2D, right? And in this two-dimensional space, you've got points from one corner to another corner, right? So we've got four points in this square.
Yeah.
So in between these squares, let's say we've got 10 points at the top, right? Let's just use the top line. There's 10 points in the top line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. So each point represents an object, right? So let's use animals for example. Let's use a dog. So let's say at point 1 there's a dog, right?
Yeah.
So point 2. So we move one step to the right. There's another. What do you associate with a dog?
Man's best friend.
Man's best friend. But what do you when you see a dog? When I say dog, what do you picture in your head?
4 legs.
4 legs, right? And what else?
2 eyes.
2 eyes. And what else?
Hair.
Hair, fur. Yeah, nice. Okay. So in the first space we have dog, so the full thing, and then on the right point we've got fur. And then the next point, we've got 4 legs. And then the next point, we've got fur, right?
Okay.
So do you see that there is a theme between all these points, right? In a large language model, this connection is being made, right?
Yeah.
But then when we go across this line, far down, we're going to get like something like dinosaur. Because it's far away from dog, right?
Very far.
Right? It's very far away from dog. And if we go even further, let's say it's an alien with, made out of gobbledygook, doesn't make any sense anymore, right? This is essentially how AI, large language models specifically work, is that they're building connections between different concepts, right?
Okay.
And spatially, there's distance between how similar things are. So when we have dog, we will never have something like a car beside a dog because they're not close to each other, right? So we map this relationship out mathematically, right? Using 3-dimensional spaces or vectors and connect these meanings. This is essentially how the brain works, right? And then when we communicate with large language models, for example, they know what when you say you're talking about a 4-legged animal that has fur and it's man's best friend, because that's all close to each other in that kind of mathematical dimension, right? And that's essentially how LLMs work, because they're based on transformers, which is derived from neural networks, which is essentially how the brain works.
Okay.
I hope.
Wow.
I hope that kind of
Yeah.
makes more sense.
I
Do you
get
get
it
it?
now from that experience of the dog. Yeah. But how about people that let me reframe that again. A lot of jobs are now being taken over by this system.
Yes.
Now, for an average mommy or daddy, how do you explain to them that it's going to happen? Let me bring you closer to the AI so that gradually, I know you don't understand it, but as you come in, you will be understanding it, because now there's a lot of gap between my generation, the Gen Zs, and my parents' generation, even the older ones, you know. So how do you explain? I mean, like, tell them this is going to happen. Imbibe it.
So you want me to kind of paint the picture of how AI is going to?
Yeah, because they you have to accept it. I was listening to another podcast, and you know, the guy has said you have to accept the validity of reality. So now you've seen Tesco's workers disappearing at the shelf. You know, they're creating all these things and things like that. But the older generation are not yet inclined. They're just like, oh, it's just happening. And sometimes when you look at people, they're just like, this thing is like a voodoo. You know? So how do you prepare their mind about it?
Okay.
Because you are the ones that work on it. You understand? It's like, okay, let's say a pastor is in a congregation and is preaching. You know, you can't, you preach, but the things that you're saying might be proper revelation. He can't process it. But you, are the pastor, can always every Sunday. So now, asking, how do you then prepare their mind?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah. You know, I think a good way to think about, you know, the change that's coming with AI is that indeed it is inevitable, right? But I guess, you know, if we want to prepare people for that change, I feel that maybe question is AI something to be feared, or you know, and is it a tool that can be used to empower me as an individual rather than something I should be afraid of or I should think doesn't make any sense?
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not sure if AI is something that shouldn't be feared. So I actually think there are reasons to see AI as potential threat to our livelihood. That's just me being perfectly honest. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that, you know, people can't use AI in a way that is negative, right? So I actually, if I was to say how to prepare people for like the age of AI, I think would be scrutinize everything. Like if you see something on the internet, information that you've read, or even images that you've seen, soon enough videos, you can't take them at face value anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be, you know, even before AI, that was you know, that was the case, and it's even more the case now, that we can create, you know, media, text, images, and soon video to the point where it is almost indistinguishable from reality. So to kind of speak to the older generation, is that you shouldn't be sharing every picture you see or every video you see on TikTok, on Facebook, and say, look at this, look at that, and believe it to be true, because you just can't rely on that. And there are a lot of there could potentially be bad actors using AI, in a way that isn't positive.
In a situation where I have been misled, how do you then reprogram the ethics? Because you've used the AI, and for me, I've been misled. So how do you guys now take responsibility?
Yes. Do you know what? That's really interesting, because that's speaking to a lot of the work that I'm doing now. It's about misinformation on the internet, specifically TikTok. Yeah. Funny enough, in a way, we're planning to fight fire with fire. With more AI, with AI becoming more accessible and becoming more everywhere. We need actually AI to detect AI, from text to images to videos. So the fight right now is on detecting misinformation, text-based misinformation, and also audio-based misinformation on TikTok using AI. So how we do that is that there are databases of truths, of fact-checked news or fact-checked research that we get the AI to look at. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you posted a TikTok video, for example, and in that TikTok video you made 5 claims. That let's say oranges taste like apple, but you all know that's not true. Horses are faster than cars, and you made a bunch of other claims, right? So we essentially create models that would take your video, analyze it, take all the claims that you've made, and then send it to a database of factually accurate, facts relating to the topic that you discussed, and then it would flag whatever is incorrect or inaccurate.
Okay.
So in a way, what I'm saying is that in the near future, there'll be a lot more tools, and a lot of these platforms will be doing all these checks themselves as well. But I think the responsibility still lies on the individual to be very, I can't even stress this enough, very, very skeptical of what they come across in the internet. As someone who works in AI, sometimes I get duped as well with images. I think it's images images and text, and soon videos, like I mentioned, are going to be really difficult to spot what's fake and what's real.
Okay. All right. Close to the thing. Now, I'm worried about when it comes to health. I'm worried about politics. I'm worried about the new generation growing up, because the other day I was watching this video, and the guy was, this book, look at it, and the AI recognized it and started talking about the references of the book. He opened the book and did like this, recognized the flip book, and then started talking about not reading it, summarizing it, even giving the pinpoints. But the thing is that I notice with people, my generation and this is the younger ones, is that they're not getting much. They're getting information, but not knowledge. If you want, not the intelligence. They get, you could, when you even watch a TikTok, some could be, there are good information there, where if you look at it, then you're like, But people are now leaving that leaving the intelligence and coming to the entertainment. How will it be in the future? Because everything will be AI. Will be on that redundancy with the factuals. I mean, like the proper intelligence that we need. How is it going to be scary in that future? I want to know.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. So I think I'm gonna probably start by saying that by reiterating what you said about, you know, people are interacting with AI models like ChatGPT, and thus they are not really acquiring knowledge. They're just consuming information but not acquiring knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, let's start there. I guess the same could be said by the internet. You know, when the internet came about, people could probably say, you know, people are just Googling things and not reading books anymore. So they're acquiring, you know, if just facts or whatever, and not acquiring knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's just in a way a similar argument, right? You know, there's there's an increase in accessibility to information, make it that we don't have a broader, let's say, learning scope of a topic, because we just learn that thing that we want, but we don't, like, let's say, read a book or a paragraph or a chapter to get a broader understanding of the concept we're trying to understand or learn. I think a potential concern, but I also feel that there is also an element of speed when it comes to acquiring information, right? I think intelligence is not only about how much you know, but also how quickly you can learn, how quickly you can process and retain that information, right? So I feel if used right, you can use AI to be more intelligent than any human that ever existed. Because you can access information faster than any human ever could, right?
True.
So I stopped using Google anymore. I don't use Google anymore. I use an AI-based search engine called Perplexity, because I get my information, you know, at a snap of my finger, summarized to me as well. So I don't have to, you know, read a bunch of paragraphs until I find where the information I'm looking for is, right?
But if give me that one.
Exactly. But if I want more context, right, I would ask it, expand on this, you know, give me more examples of this concept. You know, I'm learning much quicker, and I'm learning about what I care about. So there's less bullshit, really. There's bullshit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
you said we need to imbibe, and older generation as well have to, you know, imbibe the truth about it anyway. Lastly, I still look at it, you know, I was still talking to a guy, but he's older than me anyway, and even this phone, you know, the applications, the things that come, the updates, you can't process it at that, you know. Now, if we say that, okay, the AI would be like this, it will work like this, it will work like this, how do people in general gonna decide on money, the politics, I used health as well, because that is coming as well with it. So when it comes to the health, do we need to be scared about that in AI as well?
Yeah, 100%. You should never take health advice from any AI models. You know, so if you ask AI, hey, I am feeling this type of way, and they recommend some kind of a remedy or solution, you shouldn't take it at face value, because once again, it is prone to making things up, and it's very, very good
because
at sounding like it knows what it's saying. That's not how it works. It's just like I said, how probable is the next word?
Okay, so we're not going to be taken over by, you know, like the film Men in Black.
Men in Black, iRobots.
We're not going to be in that situation.
No, that's possible. That's 100% possible. But like, this is, you know, it's different to health. But yeah, the iRobot scenario is 100% possible. Let's say, you know, it is, if you've got robotics, well, let's just say you've got drones, right? This is you know, drone warfare, and that exists today. You can have autonomous drones that can be programmed to target specific targets, or can be programmed to recognize an individual. You know, we've got face recognition, right? So if we can recognize our face and unlock our iPhones using our face, there's nothing stopping a drone to recognize your face either, right? So that essentially means there's nothing stopping a drone to recognize targets. We've got all the technology to make an autonomous weapon of mass destruction. It already exists. These are warfare, drone warfare.
Okay.
So it's just more the iRobot scenarios. Do we have like a humanoid kind of robot that can wield a weapon and start shooting people? Not yet, but it's close. You know.
Okay. Yes. Unspoken answers to unspoken questions. Well, we've analyzed some things. Basically, I think the truth is that we need to imbibe it, read about it, and do the best that we can at the moment.
Yes. Question everything.
Question everything. So, Mr. Francis, this is Unspoken Answers to Unspoken Questions. What will you leave with us with this AI thing?
Yeah, I think I leave two things. One, like I mentioned, question everything. So be skeptical about everything you find on the internet. Criticize everything. Find multiple sources to verify all the information you come across. Especially, you know, it's very sensitive information like health claims, political claims, videos. Make sure you've got multiple sources where you can verify this information. And two, this is the most powerful tool that has, you know, been most powerful digital tool I think that's ever been created, and that means you can leverage it and use it, you know, to become a better person, in the sense that you can learn things significantly much more quicker with these tools if used wisely, right? And yeah, upskill yourself and make yourself more valuable, essentially. And so
thank you so much, Mr. Francis.
Anytime.
Thank
Pleasure.
you, man. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in another edition. Could be another topic. Stay tuned. Unspoken.